Welcome to Living the Empowered Life channel. My name is Yvonne and this channel is all about bringing you content that's empowering, encouraging and inspiring. On this channel I share tips and things to help you to live an empowered life, things to do with personal development, and also as well I share book reviews of books that I've read in case you want to check them out for yourself. These are usually books that I find motivating or inspiring. Also as well, from time to time when I go out and about, I take you out and about with me to places of interest that I like. So if this is the type of content you're looking for, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be notified of any new uploads. And if you do like the content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. So guys, in today's video I'm going to be doing a book review, and it seems like it's been a little bit of a while since I've last done a book review. I think probably the last one I done was maybe about 2-3 months ago, and if I'm not mistaken I think it was Shark Tales by Barbara Corcoran. If that was the last one I did in terms of a book review, I will leave a link to it here. But today is a book review and this is the book. You may be wondering, what the hell has happened to the front and back cover? Let me explain. So this book is called The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz, and I think I originally bought this book back in April 2022. And when I bought this book, it was a second-hand book. I got it thrift from a store on eBay. I paid about £4 for this book, and it was really like one of the first editions of The Magic of Thinking Big. I will put a picture of the book cover here. So the book cover looks like it's something out of the 1970s, but I absolutely loved that cover. But the thing is, because it was thrift and because it was used, it didn't come in the greatest condition. So as it sat in my bag, being knocked about, the pages started to fall off. But yeah, this is how the book is now, unfortunately. But because the book I found to be so fascinating, I went and bought myself a second copy this year. And here is the copy that I bought. It's not the same book cover as the copy that I originally got. It is very different to that cover. But I bought this book on World of Books and I paid $7.99 for it. Now, this book seems to be going out of circulation because there wasn't really many options where I could buy the book. And a book like this, should always be in circulation, and I'll explain why. But I bought this book because I was feeling a little bit like I was shrinking back from being courageous in the things that I am trying to do. For some reason, this happened. I don't know why. I don't know if it was because at the time when I bought this book in April, May 2022, I was studying and maybe felt that I was not as confident as I usually am in the things that I'm doing, because that was right at the beginning of my master's degree journey and I wasn't really feeling sure of myself. I'm not sure really why I started to kind of shrink back from being courageous, but basically I went and bought this book because I wanted to get inspired again. I wanted to think big again in my life. Now this book is made up of 13 chapters and they are on different things. So some of the chapters I'll just share with you are on things like build confidence and destroy fear. Another chapter is on believe you can succeed and you will. And one of the chapters I want to really kind of talk to you about today is chapter 2, which is about curing yourself of excusitis. So basically curing yourself of making excuses. And David Schwartz says that it is a failure disease. So I'm just going to read to you a little bit from this chapter. You will discover that excusitis explains the difference between the person who is going places and the fellow who is barely holding his own. You will find that the more successful the individual, the less inclined to make excuses. Like any disease, excusitis gets worse if it isn't treated properly. A victim of this thought disease goes through this mental process. I'm not doing as well as I should. What can I use as an alibi that will help me save face? Let me see. Poor health, lack of education, too old, too young, bad luck, personal misfortune, wife, family. Once the victim of the failure disease has selected a good excuse, he sticks with it. Then he relies on the excuse to explain himself and others why he's not going forward. And each time the victim makes the excuse becomes embedded deeper within his subconscious. Thoughts, positive or negative, grow stronger when fertilized by constant repetition. At first, the victim of excusitis knows his alibi is more or less a lie, but the more frequently he repeats it, the more convinced he becomes that it is completely true, that the alibi is the real reason for his not being the success he should be. And I think what he says here is true. Once you give yourself an excuse not to do something, you start to believe that is the reason why you can't do it. And excuses are one of those things where it will keep you back. And actually, when you make excuses, you cheat yourself. But what I really like about this book, that even when he goes into topics such as, excuses and how it is a failure disease, not only does he talk about it and, bring light to it and give examples of how it shows up in somebody's life, or the things that the person might say, he also gives solutions. So there's 3 solutions to 3 types of excusitis disease that he talks about: health, intelligence and age. And I just want to share with you 2 from the intelligence excusitis section. 1, never underestimate your own intelligence, and never overestimate the intelligence of others. Do not sell yourself short. Concentrate on your assets, develop your superior talents. Remember, it's not how many brains you've got that matters, rather it's how you use your brains that count. There's more to that section, you can check that out if you get the book. The other thing he says about intelligence excusitis is remind yourself several times daily, my attitudes are more important than my intelligence. At work, at home, practice positive attitudes. Again, it goes into a bit more detail, so you can check it out yourself if you do get the book. There were some other things from this book that I picked up. One of them is to avoid gossip. David Schwartz describes it as the poison, the thought poison. And what he has in this section, which is on page 104, is the gossip test. So it's kind of a series of questions to challenge your thinking in this area. And also as well, in that section where he talks about that, he talks about how it is a negative trait, a negative thing to have, to always be gossiping about other people, and how it affects other people's lives as well as your own in trying to think big. One of the things you will notice if you do buy this book is that the chapters are quite long, but they are justifiably long because they contain so much information, so much knowledge that is going to bless your life that, you won't mind the chapters being as long as they are. And I should say here, I bought this book, as I mentioned, in April 2022. And it was only at the beginning of this year, about February, that I actually finished this book. It doesn't mean that obviously from April 2022 to now, I wasn't reading books, I was. But because I was studying my masters, because of work and stuff, and also mainly because this book, you can't just sit down and just read it like, just whiz through and read it. You have to take your time to think about what he's talking about, the author, and how you can apply it to your life. And there were so many aha moments in this book. There were so many revelational moments in this book for me. I really had to take a step back and think about what it was that I was reading and how I would apply it to my life, or how I could make changes. This book is a really powerful personal development book. It's something that I am going to go back and read again. Now I've got my second copy. But as I was saying, the chapters are quite long, but justifiably so. You get lots of information, lots of different things, and he brings new perspectives and different perspectives on things maybe you probably hadn't thought about before. I know for me that was the case. But what he does as well at the end of each chapter, because he probably knows that the chapters are quite dense with information, is to summarize what he's talked about in each chapter, and also, highlight the key points and the solutions. So, you've always got that. If you may find it hard to remember what he's talked about, I know that I went back to certain chapters at the end just to kind of refresh my memory. There's so much to take away from this book. He talks about planting generosity, acknowledging people who people wouldn't normally acknowledge. So the cleaner, the servant and stuff like that. He talks about paying attention to people that other people might overlook, because you never know how that person might bless your life, or one day you might need something and that person remembers your kindness, remembers how you took the time to say hello to them, remember their name and stuff, and turn around and do something for you. Not that he was saying that you should do that to get that, but he was just saying about noticing those who seem to be undervalued or overlooked in life. And I really like that, because I think that a lot of people forget that no matter what job people do, whether it's a cleaner or a waiter or a waitress, these people are humans as well. And I've seen some terrible behaviour with people who treat these types of people in these industries as less than them. So I really liked that he mentioned that in the book. There was just so much wisdom and knowledge to take away from The Magic of Thinking Big. I think that it has taught me to expand my mind, to be open-minded, to always be open to ideas, always have a mindset that is willing to go beyond what I'm currently thinking. And I think that's one of the main things I've taken away from this book, that where my mind naturally might stop at a certain place because of what I can see or because I'm stuck with a problem, to go beyond that, find a way around it in order to go forward. And that in its essence is what The Magic of Thinking Big is about. It is about unlocking the limitations you place on your mind about different situations in life and just looking for solutions to go above and beyond, what you're currently thinking. And another thing basically this book gives you is a way to challenge how you think and act in situations as well. But really that was just a tiny bit of what I've read in this book, The Magic of Thinking Big. I mean, this book is a really good book. If you are somebody who is really interested in stretching yourself, if you're interested in self-growth, personal development, trying to optimize yourself, this book is going to be for you. And I should mention here, the audiobook of The Magic of Thinking Big is actually available on YouTube. I will leave a link to it in the description box below. So if you feel that you're not able to buy the book, then you can listen to it. I buy books because I like to have the physical copies, but some people prefer to listen to audiobooks. It's about 9 hours in length, the video, but basically it's just got the cover and you can just listen to it on the go. But I would definitely recommend this book, and it's a book I'm going to come back and read again and again and again, because there's no way in me just reading it once and even taking as long as I did, reading and putting it down, that I believe I've got all the information I need out of it. I believe there is a lot to learn from this book. But if you have read this book, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Did you enjoy it? Did you learn anything from it? Did it change any kind of thinking that you had on any limitations that you were experiencing? I would love to know. So until the next video, take care.